Fala, traders! Tudo beleza com vocês, meus brothers and sisters, traders? Hoje temos aqui a presença não pessoal, né? Fala presença. Um dia quero mesmo estar com ele aqui pessoalmente, ele, o Daryl Martin e o John. Já pensou a gente fazer uma live, uma mesa redonda assim, só para trocar ideia? Ele não está entendendo nada que a gente está falando, por isso ele está com essa expressão dele. Mas eu tenho muito orgulho de trazer o nosso brother trader Gates aqui no YouTube, ao vivo no YouTube, para a gente trocar uma ideia hoje sobre estratégia para operar 20 contas patrocinadas e principalmente dificuldades para lidar com esse peso, com essa responsabilidade de operar 20 contas patrocinadas. Infelizmente, eu não consigo traduzir para vocês na hora, então... mas podem mandar aí, na gravação aparece ali a tradução, fica melhor para entender. Eu arranho muito mal no inglês, eu até agradeço a paciência dele. E ali vocês podem mandar a pergunta em inglês, que ele está vendo o comentário de vocês, que aí ele responde. Beleza? Como é que tá o áudio e o... Tá bom o áudio? Vai ser em inglês? Vai ser em inglês, né? Boa tarde, meus brothers and sisters traders. Boa tarde, meus brothers and sisters traders. So here are the Gates, Mr. Gates or only Gates?
Just Gates. Yeah, Gates.
Just Gates. So Gates, yeah. Gates, first of all, thank you so much for being here, for your time. I appreciate it. My audience just love it our last live. So here we go again to talk about your 20 PA accounts. I follow you on Instagram. Mm-hmm. I saw your results. Congrats for your results. Congrats for your transparency and for your payouts as well.
Thank you, man. What a pleasure to be here. I had so much fun on our last interview. It was a no-brainer when you invited me. Absolutely. And anytime, I will tell you, absolutely anytime. Hey, everybody, great to see you guys. I apologize. My Portuguese is non-existent, so you're going to have to suffer through English with me today. I appreciate it.
Yeah, well, I tell them because after the live, they can, translate on YouTube transcription. But on live here, I saw them to make the question for you in English that you'll be able to answer everyone.
For sure.
So tell me, not about today, let's
back to that.
Yeah, I just saw your Instagram post and I saw that you blow 15 PA accounts. It's 50K account.
Yeah, 50Ks.
50K account. Man, I just no way. Yeah. Well, before we got in this day, share with us, please. How can you have this all 20 PA accounts? Because I take 1.5 years to have 20 PA accounts. What about you?
So, well, we're not going to talk time because it's taken forever. Really and truly, my trading journey started almost 30 years ago. But if we really want to get down to when things really started to come together, was the beginning of 2023. I spent a year really fighting through not really understanding the markets. I learned a strategy that I could execute reasonably well enough, but I just, nothing was really connecting for me. So I think from there, in February of 24, I started working with a coach, a buddy of mine named Kevin, who's become a very, very good friend of mine. And he really gave me a solid foundation on the markets and really how to understand price action better. I mean, just really giving me a better fundamental understanding of the markets. From there, it took me 13 months to get my first payout. I've since started working with another mentor. If you care if I share his name, or if not, it's totally up to you. But
no problem.
Yeah, so Casper SMC, you guys have probably seen him on YouTube. So I'm in his program and have had a chance to get to know him. Actually did an interview like this with him as well. But finally got over the hump, and I got my first set of payouts. I had 9 accounts. They were 150,000 accounts. $150,000 accounts.
Okay.
And on those accounts, and basically a 2-month stretch, I took out almost $32,000 in payouts. So
Great. Nice.
when we talk about how long it took to get to 20 accounts, of course, I blew those because it happens, and we'll obviously get a chance to talk more about that today.
Yeah.
But when I started over, I decided to go back down to the 50,000, and I started getting them five accounts at a time. And honestly, because I'd taken out a fair amount of money, I really wanted to get everything kind of back to PA status. I rushed things, so I burnt through some more evaluations, that I failed, but I also passed a bunch. Once I passed them, I started trading them a little bit more cautiously and with a level of discretion. So I guess it took me, I don't know, it took me about a month or so to build up to 20 accounts, but that was because I was willing. I was willing to go pretty heavy. When you're doing 5 accounts at a time and you're trying to, pass them all in one day, if you can afford the back and forth, which is really the really where the speed bump is, so to speak. For me, because I was now, operating with payout money, it was a little more comfortable for me to be more aggressive. And so I did. So I jumped in pretty heavy. And with those 20 accounts, I don't know, I've had them for, you're mute on me.
There you go. PC, can you hear me?
Yeah. Nope, you're gone again.
Let me change the mic. Sorry for that.
While you do that, I'll just kind of finish the story. So I progressed these 20 accounts. I started to operate a little bit more cautiously, and I took a $3,000 payout on the first 5, but I was buying them 5 at a time. So there was definitely different levels. And as of this morning, those 5 were back over payout threshold, and 10 of them were within about $300 to $400 from payout threshold. So my sincere hope was that today I was going to be able to request a payout on 15 accounts. Of course, we know that didn't happen. But that was sort of the journey. It really was a matter of being willing to be aggressive financially because I had the resources in hand to do that. So that certainly speeds up the process. Is that the best way for everybody? Probably not. But it was okay for me.
Yeah. So can you hear me now?
Yeah, we're good.
Yeah. So on evals, you trade 5 add-ons to pass.
Yeah. So I was getting 5 accounts at a time, and I was attempting to pass them in one day, which for me usually means one trade. So I was taking much larger position sizes than I would take in a PA account by any stretch, because if I blew it, it's 30-ish bucks per account. So it's to me wasn't the end of the world because of, like I said, because of the payouts that I'd taken. So I kind of fought through it that way and sped up the process. So as soon as I got my first 5 accounts, I would get 5 more evaluations. And so I would do a copy trade. What I was trading on the first 5 accounts, I would trade like 3-to-1 on the evaluations, because they're evaluations, right? To me, it was, I don't want to call it a throwaway. I don't want to be so flippant with it, but the cost really was offset by the fact that if I did this, I could get into PA status faster and hopefully get to that payout faster. That was the idea.
But on your plan, you get all the PAs to start trading the PAs, or once you get past, I don't know, 5 or less than 5, you already start to trading PAs.
So as soon as I passed the first 5, I started trading them as PAs, and then I got 5 more evaluations.
Yeah, and how you manage that? Because one thing is we trading one eval, treating eval as eval, and just like that we switch to PAs. And how can you deal with this? It's the same session trade that you do that.
Yeah. So I trade on Wealth Charts, and Wealth Charts has the built-in trade copier. Mm-hmm. So what I would do is you can set the trade copier to trade, so I would trade my 5 PA accounts And I would
Got
say like, I would trade like 2 or 3 micros, right?
Mhm.
But on the evaluation accounts, I would copy it 3 times over. So I would be trading 6 to 9 micros on
Got
those evaluation accounts. Same
Got
trade, same execution and everything. It would just happen automatically. And like I said, I blew some. I mean, I did go through a few extra evaluations to get there, but once I was there, it was able, I was able to sort of just kind of breathe through it and start working on building them up, which I've been doing a reasonably good job at until today. In fact, that's what I do on Instagram and X and all the socials is every day I share what the day looked like. I share what I did. And one of the reasons I do that is to keep me from doing things like I did today. I don't want to go online and say, hey, I blew it. I sucked today. I made big mistakes and I lost 15 accounts and it's nobody's fault but my own. I don't want to say that. I have to say that because now I've committed to being transparent. But by making that commitment, I think it's held me back from making this mistake more frequently. It sucked today, but I'll go back into it. I'll get some more evaluations and I'll start back up. And I mean, it'll be okay. So
Yeah, I know how you feel because I start to trading better. After that, I start sharing my screen with my students. So my progress since I started trading with Apex was fantastic because of this. I'm not sharing after, I'm sharing in the real time.
Yeah,
Not in the
I'm
real
not
time.
there yet.
Yeah, I'm not able to do anything wrong in front of my students. I have to do right now today trading. We went long at 5:30, the price 5:30 on NQ,
Yeah.
and just like that on seconds we got a 30 points on our face. So I stopped the trade using I do not put in orders with ATM. I do everything on my hands, and was terrible, but I have to do that. And after that goes all the way back, goes to the daily high, and we go long again on 30, and we made a good trade. So that's the have that we have, trading and sharing everything we done in front of everybody.
It's one of the reasons I do it. And I did that. In fact, in 23, I actually streamed all of my trading. I live streamed. I don't think anybody was watching. There was really nothing interesting to watch back then. But really, the mindset was the same. I mean, if people are watching, I'm less likely to make that mistake. And, it doesn't mean it's not going to happen. But, it does definitely make me think twice.
Well, when I started, I started sharing my screen on 2022, and was I remember like today, I had only 7 people watching, and 4 was my family.
Yeah, I would have done anything for 7 people back in 2023. I don't think I ever had more than 2 or 3 on at a time.
Yeah. So how tell me this, how you manage trading PA evals and doing this using the copy, but you will have accounts with drawdown, fixed accounts with live drawdown. How you deal with this?
So look, when I'm operating in the way that I intend to, is I'm usually trading 2 to 3 micros max.
Okay.
So I'm not really running into drawdown issues. I also, I mean, if you look at my stats, I'm winning probably 4 out of 5 days, if not a little bit better than that. Again, it's days like this that wipe all of that out. But because of the small position size that I'm taking, it's, it really isn't that, I don't run into that issue very often. I also size down because the way that I trade is I look for the big moves, right? So I'm looking for, 50 to 150 point moves. I mean, those are my typical trades, right? So I usually only take 1 trade a day, again, if I'm behaving. So on 2 micros, 3 micros, I mean, it's not going to pull back so much that you're going to get into that issue.
Yeah,
just
but
realistically speaking.
what about the evals that you are copying at the same time?
Well, like I said, I just basically, I would do those 3 to 1. So it would be 6 to 9 micros on any given trade. And like I said, I did blow some of those. So it wasn't necessarily about managing them as I would a PA. I realized that if my trade hits, I'm going to pass 5 evaluations. If it doesn't, I'm just going to start over tomorrow and reset them. Right. And I was just comfortable with that. So for me, that wasn't such a big deal at this point, especially once I had those first 5 PAs, because those were really my focus. Everything else was just sort of happening in the background. I didn't really have to think about it. The copier was managing all of that for me. And
it's still 150K account?
No, right now what I've had are all 50s.
50s, okay.
Yeah, the first round that I got paid out on were 150s, and I'm thinking about going back to 150s. I haven't decided yet. Now that I get to make that decision again.
150s are my favorites.
Yeah,
are my favorites. And I ask you that because I trade like this. At my main session trade that are on ET time will be 8 a.m. to 11 a.m.
Yeah.
So in this session, I trade my best accounts, my best PA accounts. To that accounts have a very good buffer. That I at the end I only need to trade the, how you can say that, the 8 days. The 8 days with 5 days up to 50, and that's it. I will be able to make payouts, and then after that, on this time, the end of the session, CMA session, ET time as well, will be 3 to 4 p.m. Yeah. So in that time, I trade my new accounts that I have the drawdown still alive.
Yeah.
So I trade different in this session of afternoon than my session of the morning, because the morning I have all accounts, good buffer. I don't have to worry about the drawdown. And my very challenge right now, my biggest challenge right now, is to get those 5 new PA accounts at the same level that my others accounts.
Yeah.
That's why I trade. That's why I ask you how you manage all those.
Well, bear in mind that my trading session is generally 9:30 to 11:30, and that's it. I don't get to trade afternoon session. I've got so I've got the work that I do with Apex. I've got some other stuff that I do. I've got my own social media that I'm working through. So when I'm done trading, I'm done. So I don't come back for that afternoon session. I can see where that might bring a different sort of vibe in terms of, okay, I'm going to trade these accounts in the morning. I'm going to trade these accounts in the afternoon. Honestly, I would say I don't have that luxury, but it is a little bit by design, because I will tell you, when I'm trading, if I'm in a trade, I can't concentrate on anything else. I'm not that developed as a trader yet. I know a lot of people, they can sit there and they can put on a trade. They can sit there in the background, look up every 15 minutes and manage it if needed, and then go about their workday and they can do other stuff. Not me. I can't do that. If I'm in a trade, my focus is 100% on the charts, which is a deficiency, in my opinion. I can't pull away from it. It would be one thing if I was expecting to be in a trade for 5 or 10 minutes, or if I was scalping, little moves and things like that. But when you're looking for those big moves, I need that liquidity. I need that big rush of volume that's happening in that morning session for my trades to play out the way that I expect them to. So it's really kind of a one shot for me. So if I don't copy all of my accounts, then some accounts just aren't getting traded.
Yeah, well, my biggest fear on trading all accounts together, it's today. What happens?
It's 100%. Look, it's a risk. It absolutely is a risk. It's a calculated risk. I know that I'm moving forward. I know that I'm getting better. Like on this round of 20 accounts has not been totally fruitless. I've already taken a $3,000 payout on the first 5. And today, assuming I didn't break any rules today, I don't think I did. I don't think anything I did should hinder me from getting a payout. But those 5 accounts ended up doing well, and I should be requesting another 9,000 today off 5 accounts. So there's a calculated risk. I know that I'm probably more aggressive than I should be, and I would love to be the guy that sits there and gets all of his accounts over payout threshold and shoots for like $300 a day across 20 accounts. That's a $6,000 day. That's nothing wrong with that at all. In fact, that's amazing. But psychologically speaking, I have some accounts that are over threshold, some that are close, some that are still far away, and I want to get everything over. I'm always in a rush. I know this is something that I have to work on, but I will say that when I had the 9 accounts and I was doing well and I got multiple payouts back to back, one thing that I got to was I got to a standpoint of all of the accounts got paid out, everything was over threshold, and I stopped being in a hurry. And that was good for me. And of course, like I said, stuff happens. Like I still go on tilt. I'm not immune to it, obviously. But that really is my goal. My goal is to be at a point where I'm not shooting for 5, 6, 7, 800,000 bucks a day per account. I don't want that. That's stressful. If I can do 300 bucks on 2 micros and risk 150, I'm super pleased.
Well, I learned this from Vince.
He's a good guy to learn from.
Yeah, I remember that. I was 23, July to September, and I saw your interview with him.
Yeah.
And he said, look, I got a call from Daryl Martin.
Yeah.
That's a true story?
Yeah, true story.
Yeah. I have to ask, sorry.
Yeah, absolutely. I had to ask him the same thing. I'm like, really? He's like, yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah. He called you? Yeah, sure. Yeah. So I never doubt. Okay.
Right.
So, man, then I learned about a lot because I was Brazilian Vince. I was blowing accounts, after accounts, evals, and I saw him telling to everyone, I made 1 million. He is the first trader to get a first one. So I know. So making $300 per day? No way. And he shares, no, I got the call from the Daryl Martin. Yeah, Vince, you are a decent trader. You make a lot of money in the morning and lost everything in the afternoon. Stop doing that.
Yeah.
So, and then he getting this big ass payout. So I learned from him and stop making this. I want $1,000 this today, $3,000, $2,000. First trade I made 200, 300. It's okay. It's fine. On one PA account. It's fine by me. Let me work on evals now. That I started to do that in 23. Right. And then I start to making more money on the PAs, good buffer each PA, but I never trust myself to trade using copy. Never. Mm-hmm. I wasn't prepared.
Right.
So I wasn't trust myself because in a few days I make I had a loss about $2,000 or $3,000. So at the end of the day, does match wasn't work. Mm-hmm. So I never trust myself to trade using the cop trade, but I knew that if I desire to make more money, I have to go there. I have to trade 10 accounts. And you knew the Arthur. Remember the Arthur? I share about the Arthur on stood of my 40 class number 4.
Uh-huh.
He made 400,000 payouts.
Yeah.
And I learned with him as well, because he was trading 10 PA accounts, making about trading mine in queue and making one trade a day with 20 points. That's it. With 10 accounts. And I was like a crazy pursuing, $1,000, $2,000, $3,000 a day. So I learned a lot with my student Arthur, and made a good plan to trade multiple accounts. But I only trust myself 1.5 years later. That was the last January.
You know what? More accounts is the same as scaling up. Psychologically speaking, you are now talking about more money. You're talking about bigger wins and bigger losses. And psychologically speaking, you have to be able to get them. And to me, I think that's a big part of where I am right now. Like logically, I understand how to trade 20 accounts. I understand that you just go for the, base hits every day and be done, right? But when you're multiplying everything times 20, like I even made a comment on one of my daily recaps. It's like, I think I was up, I don't know, $2,800 or something. I mean, across 20 accounts, it was like $140 per account. And I referred to it as a small day. And I thought, how messed up is it that I'm seeing $2,800 of profit and I'm calling this a small day? And I mean, I understand that logically, because typically I would set my max risk for the day at 300. So that's a $6,000 loss if I took max loss. And so relative to that, $2,800 was small. But it really messes with your mindset when you start to think about numbers in terms of times 20. I think one of the things that I need to work on is getting to the point where I'm not super, super excited about the up days so that I don't get super, super bummed out about the down days. I just let them be. But I'm still very emotionally attached to what that number says at the end of the day. And I do feel like talking about it and being very open and transparent with it is helping me, because in order to make these little videos that I do, like they're 4 or 5 minutes a piece, right? They're just super quick. But I have to think about what happened that day, what I could have done better. This is my form of journaling. Like, I'm not going to sit there and journal. I know everybody says you should do it. I don't. I've never been able to sit down and do that. But this does the same thing for me, I think. I think about the trades that I took. I think about the mistakes that I made. I think about the things that went right. And it helps me work through some of the challenges that I'm still facing, right? Of course, I'm not going to be immune to the problems, but if I do this every day, like I've been doing this for just at about 4 weeks now, so doing the daily recap, this is the first time I've blown up, right? But if I keep doing this for another 3 months, I'm going to be a very, very different trader simply because of that one thing that I do.
Yeah. 4 weeks and you made one payout?
Today we'll request the second payout. So the first one was 3,000 on the first 5, and it should be 9 today, assuming I didn't break anything. We'll see. There's no preferential treatment, in case anybody's wondering. If I don't qualify, I don't qualify.
Yeah, and I saw on your Instagram that you made a promise. Or what about the hair thing?
Oh, yeah. So this is my new hair. When I was trained, like I've been going bald for 20 years, right? And it's one of the things that I just didn't like. I can't go to the gym and work it out. I can't exercise more hair back, right? So when I was going through the process of working with coaches and things like that, I was like, I really need to have like a reward for myself for getting that first payout.
Yeah, nice.
And I'm like, well, what would be big enough? What would be big enough to motivate me? And I thought, you know what? It's going to be the hair transplant. So that was it. Now, my first payout was $500. That wasn't enough to cover the hair transplant, but I got a payout. Yeah, no, I got a few more payouts, and it was all 100% paid for by trading by Apex payouts. So that makes me happy.
Nice, nice. Congrats for that one. Congrats.
Thank you. Now it's going to be a full year before everything grows back in properly. So I've got to be patient. You know, something that we're supposed to learn as traders from the get-go, right? But right now, everything is like, this is why I'm wearing this hat that looks like it's way too big for me. Because it's still fresh. It's been over a week and everything itches really bad. And you'll see me like messing with my neck. I'm so uncomfortable right now. I have been uncomfortable for like a week. I haven't slept right. I'm sure that's probably a contributing factor as well. But it's something that was important to me. And I think that when you set yourself up something like that, you have to pay it out. Even if things change, you know, you can change it to a different reward. But if you do something like that and you don't pay yourself out, I think you're doing yourself a big disservice.
Yeah. And at least you don't depend off the withdrawal from today to make this.
No, and you know, and again, like I said, I try to be very responsible with how I'm handling things. It may not look like that when I get 5 evaluations and I blow them because I'm trying to go full blown aggressive, right? But you know, there is like I said, there's a calculated risk to that comes from my experience with those first 9 accounts. And one thing that I know is that if I can get consistent enough, long enough on 20 accounts, I mean, 20 accounts minimum payout of 500 is still what, 10 grand?
It's a lot. It's a lot.
That's minimum, right?
You know, for Brazilians, that's a huge.
That's a lot of money anywhere.
Huge, yeah. That's huge. That's so. And but the thing with the hair, the same with the as a trader, you have to be patient.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, that's my thing. And I done this as you done with the hair, because since the 23, I was able to multiply my payouts and always getting a little big payout, you know, growing month to month. And in the end of the last year, I plan to trade 20 PA accounts to build my house.
Nice.
To build my house. So I with of course, with new money that I will make trading with Apex. So I will be able to, I'm getting there. I'm getting there. But before that challenge with my house, I put one challenge that was pay a bill from a lawsuit that I had over 15 years ago.
Wow. Yeah.
Years ago.
Feels good putting that behind you.
Was a big bill.
Yeah.
Like, you know, a big bill I paid that bill last January.
Nice. Congratulations.
Yeah. Was I like to say numbers, was 400,000 reals.
Yeah, I don't know what the conversion is.
Will be almost $100,000.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. 85. 80,000. Yeah. 80,000.
And then you get to live the rest of your life without that behind you anymore. That's huge. That's massive. That's
it. And now I just bought the land that I will build my house. Mm-hmm. I already made the projects of the house. Mm-hmm. So I live in this right now. Yeah. First with this challenge. And it's not easy, you know that I can't say that, but I'm doing this plan here I showed to you earlier. Right. I had 2 days, only 1 day on stop. That was Tuesday. Yeah. Or Monday. Yeah, Tuesday. It was on last Tuesday when you remember the markets on Tuesday.
I do. I had a down day on Tuesday. I didn't like Tuesday either.
Yeah, it was not very few opportunities to meet anything, and it was that day we definitely have no trade to do.
Yeah,
but I insist to do one trade, 2, 3, 4, and I have a down, maybe a 700 and on 15 PA accounts.
That's awesome.
And I'm trying to get the total of 20 PA accounts with those last 5 PA accounts. But man, I'm blowing all the time.
Yeah, I mean, you've got to figure out. I mean, I think you've got a better grasp on what works for you than I do, for sure, right? Because I'm still dealing with some of the very novice mistakes, you know, which I know we're always tempted to do, and I've said this publicly. I don't think that the temptation to do these things goes away. I think we just get better at managing that temptation and dealing with it, right? But you know, you've got to continue working the path that works best for you, right? You know, so if you're better off doing your PAs in the morning and doing your evals in the afternoon, you know, you stick with that. Just because I can be, you know, I'm very flippant with evaluations, doesn't mean that that's the right path for everybody. And I recognize the fact that it's absolutely not the right for everybody, especially when we start talking about other countries and different currencies and things like that, right? But you know what works for you. You know what's been working for you. So you're 5 away. You know,
Yeah.
it won't take long. I mean, if that's part of your focus, then
No,
you know.
I already have those 5, but they are, you know, far from the,
Start now.
you know, far from the deal though. And the last time that I was trading all 5 together, and I blew all 5 one time, all 5 second time, all 5, you know, then I stopped and thinking, no, this is not working.
Right.
I have to make some changes right here. So right now I'm trading one by one, and if I have one down, one stop loss one bad day on one PA account from those 5, I switch to the second one,
Right.
and then I switch to the third one, the fourth one. You know, then I made this to avoid to lose again the 5. And my problem is, once I have those better accounts giving me payouts every month, I treat those off afternoon as an eval.
Yeah.
That's my problem right now.
Well, the biggest thing that you can do is look at the situation and identify where the problems are. And I think one of the things that came to me, and again, if you listen to just my rambling, and I know that to a certain extent that's what it is, but I'll sit there and ramble because I don't prepare what I'm going to say when I do these things. I just sit there and I start talking about what happened, and then it forces me to reflect on the day. One of the things that I kind of figured out is that for the most part, we only look at our process when we fail. But that doesn't mean that there's not things that we can learn when things go well. Like I've picked up a lot of things that I've tried to adjust and improve upon by looking at the good days too. And so I think it's important to figure out what's working, what's not working, but not just look at those bad days and try to figure it out from that standpoint. You know, there's every day is a lesson, you know, whether it's good or bad. And so that's what I've been trying to work through myself.
So let's talk about today. What happened today?
Okay. I mean, I can blame several factors, but at the end of the day, it was 100% me, right? Like I haven't been sleeping well. I haven't been resting well. I think one of the things that I was looking at was I had 5 accounts that were already over payout threshold, which were the original 5 that I've already gotten a payout on, right? So they were just already over, right? And I had 10 more that were within $300 to $400 of being at payout threshold. And so when I ended what I should have ended my day, I was at break even. I still wanted to get those accounts over payout because I knew that the first 5, today was the day, right? So I just wanted to go back in, and then it just went haywire from there. I don't know, man, it's embarrassing. especially
No,
when you're
I
being
know
public about these things.
I know that. I know that.
I feel ashamed of myself. I feel disappointed in myself, but I know that there's a lesson in this. And, at one point I was down about $700 per account. And the reality is it's easier to come back from a okay. Now there's also the factor that like I have committed publicly online that I'm only going to let myself go down $300 a day. So now I'm more than double that. So now I already have to come to the table with a mistake. And my thought is, if I can make this back, I don't have to admit it.
Yeah, you tell me that you made only one trade a day.
Normally, yeah.
Normally.
Sometimes two. Occasionally there's an opportunity for two. On a rare occasion, even if I'm behaving, there's an opportunity for a third one. But for the most part, I'm really just looking for that one move.
So the first one was wrong today. The first one.
First one was wrong. The second one was right, moving in the right direction, but it came back and it stopped me out. So that between the two, it ended up like I was right at about break even.
Okay. Break even on the day.
Yeah.
And the third one that goes completely wrong. Mm-hmm. But you change. Let's go back a little bit. You trade 50K accounts, yep. And how size you trade?
I was trading 3 micros today.
3 micros, and keep with 3 micros after the second trade?
I think I was down about 180. So 180. I was still modestly down, right? Okay. So there was still like to get to 300, I could still take another trade, but it's not that I should take another trade, but within my framework of $300, I still have room to take another shot. So I took another shot, and at this point I'm playing guesswork. And at some point I was just down so deep, and I'm like, you know what? I went into that. I'm not even thinking about this anymore. I'm just acting. I increased my position size. I'm not gonna tell you how high it got at one point, but what ended up happening is 15 blue, and because those first 5 had some buffer, because they were already over threshold, they survived. And they ended up going up, and I was in the last position was a long, and I ended up the day up $700 on all of those. So I ended up winning on those 5. It's not a pretty way to win by any stretch, but I did. You can call it what you want, but
yeah. Well, what can I tell you? I like to share everything because I know that's how I can watch myself on those next days to never do this again. I almost say some bad word. I don't know if it's good or not, but at this 5-day here was Monday, 5-day Monday. Mm-hmm. So we have a big problem. I think you have this problem too, to deal with the 5-day, because that 5-day here was the 5 up 50. So it doesn't matter what happened. Doesn't matter what happened on the next 3. Yeah. I will be able to get my payout. Yeah. So I have this big problem with the day 5, mm-hmm. and the last day.
Yeah.
I have this problem. Monday, I started barely more or less like you, start getting my ass kicked, and getting a several, I think it was 1 or 2, $400 on 15 PA accounts down. So I end my session at the morning, and the very beginning of the afternoon, I saw a big movement because the end of the war, and another one was, I don't remember exactly right now, but it was, I think it was something about the monetary policy. Uh-huh. And I like this movement to renew the daily max or daily low. Uh-huh. And very beginning of the year, on the Trump volatility, I was making a lot of money doing this. Uh-huh. Trade, my normal size is 1 NEQ, uh-huh. and in the beginning of the year, I was trading 10, 15, until, and was working very well until doesn't, until doesn't.
Yeah, it's a different market now.
Yeah, but back in February, I have a loss about $10,000 on 3 PA accounts each.
Wow.
Yeah, I kind of stuck it like this over a week, thinking about all this. And then I stopped trading that size. I stopped trading that size because it was not working, and I was barely close to lost everything if I keep doing this.
Right.
I tell you my story, what I've been through, and my biggest strong to don't make wrong things on my pay accounts is to don't come back on my past situation. My story. I tell you about this. And last Monday, the very beginning, I repeat that behavior from the February, and I go long with 3 NQs, and I don't open my positions going a market. I hang my orders on buy bid button.
Yeah.
So I send the order. The markets was the don't take my order. Sorry. And goes up. My order getting there alone. So I put another one. So it was 6. But the markets don't take my order. It was only I don't go long yet. And the markets goes up again, and I did again. So I had 9 NQs under the price markets, and 1 movement down, get all 9 NQs, and goes up. Boom. I made a lot of money. I made a lot of money with 90 NQs trading 15 PA accounts.
Wow.
But if the market goes down, I was able to lose at least 7 PA accounts.
Yeah.
If you get more than $1,000 or $12,000, that's easy with 90 NQs. Easy. And I almost lost my 7. 80 will be okay, but very bad, but okay. And I stopped everything, and since that last Monday, I was the same behavior than February. I am only thinking and rethinking with big ass anxiety, my hands sweating since the Monday, because I almost getting the same situation from February, and repeat everything. So I made another promise to myself that I don't be worry about the 5-day, day 5, even though with the day as today. Yeah. So what I did do today, I think I can show you. I think I can show you. Today, what I did today, I do this. Let me show you.
Take a little baby trade.
Yeah. I will show my screen. Is everything open right now? So I just open. That's my screen. Let me share with you. I'm waiting for the right moment with my 15 PA accounts.
Yep.
And open only one trade. I was only one trade. I go only with only one trade today. 5 points target, 5 point stop. That's it. So, and I have a very simple strategy that is go long after close to the daily high, expecting to the one breakout on the daily high. on renew to daily high. It's a very simple strategy, very, very, very simple strategy. So I done that. That's it. That was I don't know how I say that. This is how I fix my problem with the day 5 and the day 8, and all this happened always on those days.
I will tell you. I'll tell you. My thought on this is the best way for me to deal with this is to face it head on. If I trade differently because it's day 8 or day 5, then I think I'm building bad habits. This is the way I look at it. And again, I'm not saying this is right or wrong for anybody else.
Yeah, sure.
But for me, it doesn't matter if it's Monday. It doesn't matter if it's day 8. It doesn't matter if it's day 20. Like, I mean, some of these accounts I'd had for 15 days. So in my head, again, obviously this is not how today worked out, but in my head, I want to treat today the same as I would any other. One of the things that I see myself fighting through more often than I should is these targets, right? So if yesterday was down, I want to make more today, which is a bad habit. If I'm $400 away from getting a payout on an account, I want to get $400. It's a bad habit, right? So I'm fighting through these things, but the only way that I can fight through them is to identify them and then decide how I want to handle them. How I want to handle them is I want to face them head on and plow right through them. So that the next time I don't even know it's day 8. Just I'll check in every once in a while and I'll see if it's time to request a payout. I don't know if I'll ever get there. I'd love to be able to have that level of a mindset. But if I can treat each day the same way, I'm working through my issues, right? Like I said, you've identified what works for you, and I think that that's great. I'm not trying to say that my way is the right way. Right, I'm just saying that this is the way that I feel I need to do it. And by having the experience that I had today, I really need, I mean, look, I've identified multiple things today that could have been a factor. At the end of the day, the only factor is me. But what was I looking at? What was I thinking about that caused me to react the way that I did? Well, there were several factors. The big one, I think, was being just shy of a payout on 10 accounts. And I really was excited about the idea of getting a payout on 15 accounts at once. I've never done that before. I was kind of excited.
How much will be?
Let's see here. If I had gotten, like I said, if I had just gotten there, it would have ultimately been about close to $15,000 payout across all of them.
Oh, man. Dude.
You know, it sucks. Now, like I said, I've still got 9 of it because most of that was built into those first 5 accounts. The rest of them was just going to be barely over the threshold. So,
yeah, it's nice to hear you saying that you only have to blame yourself, because that's why I have this elephant here. Mm-hmm. That's that frame. It's from a phrase, and I develop a theory for my students that's something like this on English. I don't know if I will be able to explain on English, but it's the phrase. It's something like this: I am not elephant to have big kids. You know, so all your attitudes, all your mistakes are your mistakes, not my mistakes.
Right.
So the first step is recognize your mistakes, see your mistakes, embrace your mistakes, and blame only yourself, because that's how you can go far away and fix all those mistakes.
Yeah.
But well, it's I
think that the mindset is if it's not my fault, I can't fix it.
Sure.
If it is my fault, then I have control. Then I can do something about it. And I think that that's a very empowering mindset. And sometimes it hurts. Sometimes it sucks to take responsibility for stuff like this.
My very first PA accounts I blew because my wife fought with me all night long. I tell her, look, I got a PA account. And she back to me, okay, where's the money?
Yeah.
Where's the money? Show me the money. I need the money. And there is no money.
Yeah.
And I share with her my real situation, financial situation back in then. And we fought all night long. Next day, I blew the account. So it's her fault?
No,
way.
You probably shouldn't have traded that day.
Yeah, sure.
And I've had those days where I probably shouldn't have traded too. And one of the things that I'm starting to realize is that you don't have to trade every single day. I want to. I love trading. I'm so drawn into trading. But there are days, like if I haven't slept well for a week, it's probably not the best day to go all in and make that kind of decision. So
yeah, after the Monday, the Monday was a nice day, financial speaking, but on my behavior was a terrible day.
Yeah.
So on Tuesday, Wednesday, and today I was trading, just like a little trade just to protect myself.
Yeah.
I know I'm not that good to trade. So, well, we have a few minutes yet. I don't know how you are with the time.
I'm good.
You're good?
You want to talk? You want to do some questions? Because I saw a bunch of stuff coming through.
You have one you want to answer?
Let's see here. Most of them are in Portuguese. So let's see here. Rogerio asks if I'm exclusively trading NQ. Yes, I trade MNQ only. Is all I trade. To me, that's important because I am now familiar with the way NQ moves. And so if I try to trade ES or gold or something different, the movement's going to be different. It's just not, so I try to stick with what I know. I have enough struggles. I don't need to add extra ones for myself. How long do you trade per day? I think we talked about that. I trade at 9:30 to 11 or 11:30 a.m. Eastern time only. Operating window, trading hours. We just talked about that. I don't know what the books on the table are. Oh, like the books in my bookshelf back there.
Yeah, maybe.
Mostly personal development, one way or another. I did a program here in the U.S. called Wake Up Warrior. It was a personal development program 4 years ago. Without that, I wouldn't be the man I am today. So that's the one you can see, like right there is like the Warrior box set sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
But I've got some trading books. I've got some meditation books. I've got some just general personal development books. Everything I read is basically personal development one way or another.
Yeah, we have that big one here. Can you see that?
Okay. Clodaldo? Okay. I'm going to call you Poppy because it looks like the last
Poppy.
name there.
Yeah, Poppy.
Oh, gosh. My biggest challenge in my day-to-day life, maintaining discipline. Here's the thing. Everything in my life has revolved around building discipline. And actually, that's something that started with the Wake Up Warrior program that I did. And like I said, 4 years ago, my life completely has changed since then. So I work out 4 to 5 days a week, lifting weights, I do some cardio. I'm 51 years old. I'm in the best shape I've ever been in my life. Like I'd never worked out before. On top of that, I've hired a wellness doctor, like a functional medicine doctor. So it's like proactive medicine. It's figure out what would make me better. So it's like coaching instead of therapy, but for my body. Like coaching is supposed to make you better. Therapy is supposed to fix the problems. So I treat medicine the same way. I'm trying to make me better versus fixing problems that exist, right? My marriage, I have an amazing wife. I have 2 wonderful kids and a bonus boy. And they're really everything to me. Now, could I be better in all of those areas? 100%. My spiritual life. I mean, these are really my four pillars for me, like faith, family, fitness, and finance, right? So what I try to do is I try to balance the work that I'm doing in all 4 areas at once, as opposed to trying to, because look, what I used to do, I used to own a mattress shop. Like I had a mattress store. And my life consisted of, I would work really hard at work, try to, fix problems, because inevitably, your small business owner problems come up. and I would be away from home too many hours. I would always be distracted. I would always be on my phone working on ads or answering calls and things like that. And so my home life with my wife and my kids would suffer, right? And so I'd go through a few months of this, and then I would change, and I would start focusing on my family, and then work would suffer, and then revenue would go down, and then I'd have to fix that. So it was like constantly going back and forth, and nothing was ever getting ahead, right? And so when you talk about discipline in other areas of my life, I think this is a critical thing for me, is if I can just do a little bit for all 4 areas at once, like at the same time, and work on that, they all get a little bit better. Nothing is going to suffer because I'm working on something else. Now, it's not a perfect system. And there are days where I don't feel like going to the gym, or there are days where I don't want to journal, and I don't want to read, and I don't want to do the things that are, sort of my commitments to myself. And I do falter. I think we're all human. But when I know at the end of the day, like if I look back at my week and something didn't really keep pace with everything else, I know that I need to start putting a little bit more attention in that, but I can't do it at the expense of the other areas of my life. I don't know. That was probably pretty wordy, and hopefully the fast English didn't, mask the ideas there. But yeah, I think we all struggle with discipline in every area of our life. But I think that when it becomes your primary focus, is that consistency, that discipline, doing the things that matter. I think that you can at least, in the bigger picture, when you look at a week at a time or more, you can see everything sort of moving in the right direction.
Yeah, that's great. And the second one, it's about your risk manager on 20B account. Now it's 5. Now it's 5.
Yes, today's the day to talk about that. So typically what I look for is a trade that I can, ideally I'm looking for a 2-to-1 risk reward ratio minimum. Now I'd love to see those 3s, 3.5s. Occasionally you'll see a 4, right? And my risk, I want to risk no more than about $150 per trade, because that gives me that at least gives me 2 shots, because I'm willing to risk $300 for the day. So that's really about how I manage it. So there are days where, now I'm also not going to take the same risk on every single trade. If I'm taking a trade that's, let's call it a little higher risk. Maybe it's not the A+ setup, but it's got a good opportunity and it's got a 4, 5, 5.5 risk reward. I might jump in with 1 micro. Now the risk isn't big, and if I lose it, it's not going to break my heart. But if it goes, then it's a really nice win. And I don't want to miss out on those opportunities, because I think they hit frequently enough to justify when you have enough risk reward. But if it's like my standard setup, if it's like the because I look for time-based liquidity, I look for London high and low, Asia high and low. I'm looking for reactions at those points. And so if it's like that standard perfect, picture perfect setup, then I'm going to try to risk about 150. Now, if it goes to 180, I'm still going to take the trade, right? As opposed to making it smaller and maybe being only like a $90 risk. I want the moves to pay off, right? So I'm willing to be a little bit flexible, but I don't want so much risk on a trade that, like, if it goes against me, I react the way that I did today. And today, that really wasn't the issue. It became the issue as I continued trading. But that wasn't really the issue until I had already made so many other mistakes that, whatever. I mean, one thing I've said over and over is when you break one rule, you're going to break them all. And I think the more I can recognize this in myself, like if I go rogue and I take an extra trade when I know I shouldn't, then I'm likely to continue breaking rules if that doesn't go my way. And so that's something that I need to work on. But that's typically what I'm looking for. So like if you pin me down to like my rules, like an A+ setup or a traditional setup is going to be about $150 risk, minimum 2-to-1, ideally 3-to-1 or better.
And after today, you will trade tomorrow or take a break?
Well, I'm going to request a payout on the only live accounts I have left. So I'm not trading tomorrow. I'll trade some evals. I'll get 5 evals.
Yeah. But
no EAs tomorrow.
And let me ask that on your last payout, you go to under review as well, or approve it straight?
Oh gosh, I don't think I've ever now. I don't know. My approvals usually come in within like 3 to 7 days. Now, the one that was 7 days, I know a lot of the payout people were out of town. So I think that may have been a factor. I also think that they look a little closer at me because I am an employee of the company. So they
Yeah.
have to make sure that there's no special treatment. And so like, I think I'm actually under higher scrutiny than most traders because I work for the company, which means that things tend to take a little bit longer. From the time they're actually approved. Once they're approved, I'm comfortable to start trading again, right? Because once it's approved, they take the money out and you're golden, right? But I would say I probably still wait a week or more before I see the money in my account, which is not what I see from most traders. Most traders, it's usually like the next day or a couple of days later.
But the status goes to under review or straight to approve it?
No, they go under review. I actually had one payout denied. I didn't hit my 5 days of 50. I forgot that part.
I have today it's automatically. It's better. But the last one this year, the last 3 or 2 months, I had 5 PA denied. 8 payouts denied. 5. And my delay was about the last one I request on Thursday, and the money was on my account the next Friday.
Wow. Yeah. See, mine don't usually come that fast.
Last one, yeah. So right now, I will make another one today. Let's see if the next Friday will be.
Yeah. We'll put them in. We'll see when they get approved, and we'll see when they get paid out. I think you'll get yours faster than me.
But I considering to all those could be denied because my trade I trade out of my pattern the last Monday.
I did today, so I don't know how I'm willing to accept the fact that these might get denied for me.
Yeah. So we have more. That one is nice. Let me see here from Febakini. That one. If you have some pre-markets before a trade.
Yes. Okay. So a couple of things. So basically, the first thing I do, I get to my office usually by like 6:30, 6:45 in the morning for an 8:30 open. I'm in U.S. Central Time, right? So I usually get in about 2 hours before the market opens. And so I do a couple of things. I will usually meditate before I start trading, and I will spend some time journaling. I like to get all of the other thoughts out of my head. Especially if I feel like something's weighing on me, I want to get it out of the way. And it's usually a very therapeutic process and helps me find answers to whatever questions I'm dealing with. So that's just a part of it. This is not so much a trade journaling. This is just me working through my thoughts. So from there, what I will typically do is I'll do a very light top-down analysis. I look at I've got my 5 monitors here, and I've always got like my 1 hour, my 15-minute, my 5-minute, my 1 minute on TradingView. And then I have another one that's got 15-minute on NQ, ES, and YM. So I'm looking for confluences and things like that. And then I've got my wealth charts, which I have nothing on because, all the indicators that you can get on TradingView, they're not available on wealth charts at this point. So like I've got all of that. It's kind of a mess, but it helps me see at a moment's notice. Like I'm sort of ICT adjacent trading. I'm looking for liquidity. So fair value gaps are important to me. So I get to see, because I've got an indicator that just marks out my fair value gaps, but it will only show me the fair value gaps on that current time frame. So that's the reason I leave the various time frames up, so I can see if we're getting into a 5-minute or a 15-minute fair value gap that might be, somewhere where we're going to potentially move out of. From there, I look and see where we are in terms of London high and low, Asia high and low, previous day high and low. Those are the three or I guess the 6 levels that are important to me, because most of my trades are going to come off of one of those levels, whether it's a reversal or continuation. So just seeing where we are, like if London high and low have already been taken out, then I don't get to use those levels anymore, right? So I'm really just looking at seeing what all of those are, where everything is, what potential opportunities. I try not to come into the day with a bias. I'm willing to look at opportunities long or short every day. I know a lot of people disagree with that, but I found success doing that. In fact, I've had days where I had a winning short trade followed by a winning long trade, and that ends up being a phenomenal day, right? Just because of where the levels are and what's happening. So it really is just, that's pretty much what I'm looking for. And that's my daily routine in terms of the morning, right? So I do work out pretty much daily. I do that after work. So I do that. Like I can't go to the gym now because they don't want me, getting my heart rate up.
For how long?
Till this weekend. I get to go back to the gym this weekend. Thankfully, it's making me crazy. Honestly, I never thought I would be that guy, but I miss the gym so bad right now.
Well, I go every day.
Yeah.
Every day.
So,
I think our strategy is kind of similar.
Yeah.
I trade on those regions as well. Daily highs, daily low, London high. It's not.
Well,
but I go for 10 or 20 points. Not a trade more than 50 points. It's a huge trade for me.
Well, if I get a reversal from London low, I'm going to shoot for London high, right? And I may even leave a runner, after it hits London high, just depending on how much momentum there is. So that's where you start getting some of those bigger ones, or like a continuation move. If it hits London high and it's just continuing, I mean, it could go. We got previous day high sometimes. Sometimes we have levels from several days ago. There's really nothing in between. So I'm not necessarily going to get 150 points out of it. I'm going to trail my stops, and that's usually what's going to take me out of a trade in a scenario like that. Versus hitting that target. But like today, I mean, once it finally ran, it ran. I mean, if I just waited for that, right?
Yeah, well, that's it. I will make the giveaway right now. Mm-hmm. You'll have some time to see. So
yeah, let's see who wins.
Yeah, it's a nice time, and one of the rules are follow your account. So maybe you have a few
nice.
Brazilians.
Okay.
A few Brazilians.
And for the record, if you happen to be on different platforms, I'm on all of them. I'm on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, X, and TikTok. On TikTok, the Forge Trader, the E is with a 3 because they don't like the word trader for whatever reason. I don't know. So just put a 3 at the end, so it's TRAD3R, but it's all of them is the Forged Trader.
Okay, and I promised that I won't ask you anything about Apex, but the Bruna asked this. I promise, it's not me asking. It's not me asking.
I know that they're anxious to hit $1 billion in payouts, so they're going to keep paying people. Look, I wish I knew. Honestly, it's one of those things. Like I'm close to the principals. John and Daryl are like my oldest friends. The fact is that those guys are super busy. John's busy working, and Daryl's busy traveling around the world with his family. So I don't get to talk to them as often as I'd like. And stuff like this, as far as like future rollouts and things like that, they keep all of that very close to whichever department that it's coming out of. And technically, what I do for the company, I'm not in a department, so I don't get to be a part of any of those conversations. I love the questions and the enthusiasm. I know you guys want the inside scoop. I just don't have it. And if I did, I'd probably get fired if I gave it to you. So, but really and truly, I think you can expect a lot of innovation, a lot of growth, a lot of pushing for new opportunities for traders. This is what the company was based on. I know there's always the handful of people on social media that yell and scream and holler and everything like that. But at the end of the day, they're going to continue doing what they're doing, which is payout traders.
Yeah, I know that. And you know too.
Yeah, for sure.
I know that. And I hope I can build my house with new money that I'm making with the Apex.
For sure, man.
I'm excited. And I will do it. I will do it. So, I will talk português right now.
Okay.
Vamos agora para o sorteio. O Solano não é contrato, Solano. O sorteio está aqui, já está na tela. Sorteio. Just to getting how the giveaway works, I made one post on Instagram a few minutes before we start, and it's always have a message because behind the post. Today it's about this frame that I have. All my frames here means I have the Barch one here. Let me put this other one. That I have this here as a.
Is that Bart Simpson?
Yeah, Bart Simpson.
Okay.
He's giving the middle finger, you know. Yeah, for me.
I sound like giving the middle finger today.
That one, it's for me. It's the F power. That's my main thing as a trader. Being a trader for me, it's the F power because I was lawyer for 12 years, working every day with this, and I have this elephant as a theory, but as a lawyer, everything goes wrong, not because of my fault, not because of my fault. So that F power for me, it's it's strong. That means a lot. So I made this post. People have to talk about what kind of freedom people's looking for their lives, and the comments will be give away him on this system right here. And let's see who will win. Tá aqui o sorteio. Vamos lá, 2 vencedores, 2 wins, 2 evals, 2 vencedores, 5 alternativos, contagem regressiva 10, menções não precisa, apenas seguir o perfil do Gates, comentar aí como tá na descrição do vídeo, ficou passando aí o tempo inteiro. Deixa eu só ver se eu... Let me see if I have to pay this system or it's already paid. Oh, I got it. Just só esperar agora, tá reunindo todos os comentários. Deixa eu tirar esse de baixo aqui. I think we had, let me see how many comments. Let me see here, how many comments. We had, just let me check. So, let's see. Vamos lá, começar sorteio. Iniciar sorteio. 10 seconds, 10 segundos. 3, 2, 1. São 10 alternativos. Tá lá. 142 comentários. 142 comments. Lázaro.
Congratulations.
Yeah. Parabéns ao Lázaro. Tá aí o Lázaro, tá ao vivo. O segundo, a do Brett. Vamos só ver aqui se cumpriu os requisitos. Se segue de volta. Tá lá, seguindo de volta. Alternativos, outros vencedores, só para ver se a gente vai para os alternativos ou não. Seguir de volta. Tá aí, 2 vencedores. Só vou confirmar. Just let me check if they are following you as well. Just to check if they are able to got those evals. Então é isso. Temos aí os vencedores e os alternativos, né? Those are 5 steps, five steps.
Right.
O Sérgio tá ali. Então, pronto. temos os cinco alternativos e os 2 vencedores. Aqui os 2 sortudos vencedores, Lázaro Molina e a Dubrete. A Dubrete é o André Dubrete e o Lázaro Molina. Já vou entrar em contato com vocês e entregar a conta agora mesmo. So that's it.
That's awesome. I have to figure out what you like. Whatever software you were using for that, I need a link to that. That's super.
Sure. Yeah, it's super easy to use. It's very nice because made some engagement with ours, so it's very nice, very nice. I like it's easier to make, it's instantaneous. Right now we already have those 2 winners, and I give the accounts to them, and
nice.
Let's go to the next one. And I've been doing this live every Thursday. Every Thursday, every Thursday. So yeah, you are my main guest. Whatever you want to come here to talk about,
Dude, I'm always up for this. I appreciate you guys so much, and all of you guys in the chat. Thank you so much for having me and being so kind and generous with your time as well. It means a lot to me, and I really appreciate you guys.
Isso aí, então vamos nessa. Vou encerrar aqui. Muito obrigado pela sua participação, pela sua presença. Gates, thank you so much again for your time, for your patience with my English. Thank you for being here, man. And awesome. I can't wait to do it again.
For sure, man. Anytime. Just let me know when you're ready for another round.
Ok. Isso aí, então vamos nessa. Tenham todos uma excelente quinta-feira. Um grande abraço e até a próxima.